I never thought I'd be writing one of these posts. I used to scroll through this reading stories of betrayal, thinking, damn, that sucks, but never in a million years did I think I'd be the one living it. Yet, here I am, staring at my screen, trying to process the wreckage that is now my life. Before I get into the full disaster, let me introduce myself. I'm married, and I always thought my life was pretty normal. I met my wife, Emily, about 8 years ago at a mutual friend's wedding. She was the type of woman who could light up a room with her presence, charming, witty, and beautiful in that effortless way that makes other women jealous. She had this infectious laugh that made you want to be the one cracking jokes just to hear it again. That I fell hard. She made me feel like the luckiest guy in the world. She had this way of making me think we were the perfect team, like nothing could ever come between us. We dated for 3 years before I proposed, and for the first few years of marriage, everything was solid. Or at least, I thought it was. Now, looking back, I see the red flags I should have caught earlier. I work in IT security, which means I'm a bit of a tech nerd. I spend a lot of time at my computer, and sometimes, yeah, I get lost in my work. But I always made time for her. Always. Emily, on the other hand, works in marketing. She's social, outgoing, always had people around her. We were different, but we balanced each other out. Or at least, that's what I believed. A few months ago, something changed. It was subtle at first, little things that didn't make sense. She started guarding her phone like it contained nuclear codes. Emily had never been super private about her stuff before. We were the kind of couple who'd use each other's phones to look things up or play music. But suddenly, hers was always face down, and she started taking it with her everywhere, even to the bathroom. Then, there were the work meetings. Late ones. At odd hours. On weekends. She worked in marketing, not emergency surgery. What kind of branding crisis needed her at a bar at 11 p.m. on a Wednesday? I asked her about it once, jokingly. She rolled her eyes and laughed. Ugh, babe, you're so paranoid. It's networking. You wouldn't understand. I let it slide. Because I was stupid. Then, the perfume. She started wearing a new scent, one I didn't recognize. And suddenly, she was putting way more effort into her appearance, not for me, mind you, but for these mysterious meetings. I should have pushed harder. I should have paid attention. But I didn't, and that was my mistake, because the moment I finally woke up, the moment I finally put the pieces together, was the moment I realized I was the biggest idiot alive. And it all started with a single, accidental text message. I didn't expect this much interest, but here we are. Buckle up, because this is where things really start falling apart. So, where did we leave off? Oh yeah, the accidental text message. It was a Friday night, and Emily was working late again. I had just finished dinner alone, watching Netflix and trying not to let my brain go to dark places. Around 9:30 p.m., I get a text on my phone. It was from Emily, except, she didn't mean to send it to me. The message: can't wait to see you tonight. I need you. Been thinking about last time all day. Yeah. At first, I thought my eyes were playing tricks on me. I stared at my screen, willing the words to change, like some glitch in the Matrix. But nope. It was real. For a split second, my brain tried to find any possible innocent explanation. Maybe she meant to send it to me? Maybe she was trying to spice things up. And nah. No way. We hadn't had that kind of relationship in months. Then it hit me, she had sent it to the wrong person. I felt like the air had been sucked out of the room. My stomach dropped, my hand started shaking, and my heart pounded so hard I thought I might pass out. I sat there, staring at my phone, waiting for her to realize her mistake, and then boom! 3 dots appeared. She was typing that my heart was in my throat. And then, she sent, babe, that was meant for you. Can't wait to see you tonight. Oh, hell no, that confirmed it. If it really was meant for me, she wouldn't have scrambled to cover her ass. If she had meant to send that text to her husband, she wouldn't have needed a follow-up message to explain it. My blood was boiling, but I knew better than to respond immediately. Instead, I did something I never thought I'd do. I hacked into her phone. Now, before anyone gets on my case about privacy, let me remind you, I work in IT security. I know my way around these things. And let's be real, at this point, privacy wasn't exactly a luxury she deserved. So, I accessed her iCloud from my laptop. And what I found, it destroyed me. There were hundreds of messages between her and Jason, yep, her ex-boyfriend, the guy before me. The one she always said was toxic and immature and the biggest mistake of her life. Well, apparently, she wasn't done making that mistake. The messages went back months. Flirty texts. Late-night meetups. Even explicit photos. Ones she never sent me. I was shaking. My wife, the woman I devoted my life to, was screwing around with the one person she swore she would never go back to, and the worst part, one of the messages said, "Can't wait for our weekend together." He has no idea. That was dated for this weekend. As in, right now. As in, she wasn't working late. She was with him. I sat there, my mind racing, my entire world crumbling around me. I had two choices: call her out immediately, explode over text, let her know I knew everything, wait. Play it smart. Catch her in the act. I chose option 2. Because I wanted to see her face when she realized her lies had caught up with her. I didn't sleep that night. I sat there, staring at the messages, reading every single word between them. Jason had been back in town for months, and according to the texts, they had been meeting up since at least 4 months ago. Hotel rooms. Late-night drives. Even in our damn house when I was out. She let that piece of dang into my home, into my bed. I felt sick. At some point, I must have blacked out, because the next thing I knew, my phone was vibrating. Emily. Calling me. I ignored it. A minute later, a text, "Hey babe, sorry I'm late. Work was crazy, heading home now. Love you." I stared at the screen, numb. She had just spent the night with her ex and was texting me like nothing happened. I forced myself to act normal. "No worries, babe. See you soon." I needed her to think everything was fine. I needed time to plan my next move. When she got home, she was all smiles, kissing me on the cheek like she hadn't just been screwing another guy hours before. She smelled like cologne that wasn't mine. I wanted to throw up, but I played along. I spent the next day collecting evidence. I backed up the messages, the photos, even her location history from her phone. Turns out, she wasn't even trying to hide it. There were records of her at Jason's apartment, at a hotel 2 towns over, even at a cabin they had rented for a weekend getaway. She had told me she was on a girls' trip. I wanted to confront her right then and there, but I knew it wouldn't be enough. If I was going to do this, I wanted to destroy her excuses before she even had a chance to make them. That night, I told her I had a work trip coming up the next weekend. She barely looked up from her phone when I said it, just muttered, "Okay, have fun." I already knew what was going to happen. She was going to invite Jason over the moment I left. So I set a trap. I had cameras in the house, security ones she knew about but never really paid attention to. What she didn't know was that I had access to the live feed from my phone. I told her I was leaving Friday afternoon. Instead, I parked my car a few streets down and waited. At 8:47 p.m., a car pulled into my driveway. Jason. I watched as she ran outside to meet him, grinning like a teenager, wrapping her arms around him, kissing him right there in front of my house. My stomach churned, but I forced myself to keep watching. They went inside. I had seen enough. I took screenshots of the footage, saved the video, and then I walked right up to my front door. I walked up to the front door, heart pounding, hands shaking, not from fear, but from pure, white-hot rage. I could hear them laughing inside. Laughing. Like they were in some kind of romantic getaway, in my house, in my bed. I had two choices. I could kick the door in and lose my damn mind, or I could play this smart. I chose smart. I pulled out my phone, opened the security camera app, and started recording. Then, I took out my key, slid it into the lock as quietly as possible, and pushed the door open. The house was dimly lit. Their voices were coming from the bedroom. I stepped inside, heart hammering, my fists clenched so tight my nails dug into my palms. Then, I heard it. Emily's voice, breathy, giggling. God, I can't believe I ever settled for him. He's so boring. You're just so much more exciting. Jason chuckled. That cocky, smug bastard told you, babe. You should have never married him. That was it. That was the moment something inside me snapped. I walked straight down the hall, right up to our bedroom door, and kicked it open so hard it slammed against the wall. Emily screamed. Jason jumped off the bed, scrambling to cover himself like the pathetic piece of trash he was. And me? I just stood there, calm as hell, phone in hand, recording everything. Emily's face turned white. Pure panic. Honey, what are you doing here? I thought you were on your trip. I tilted my head, pretending to think. Oh, you mean the trip you were so excited for? The one you planned your little fest around? She stammered, eyes darting between me and my phone. She knew. She knew she was caught. Jason, that spineless coward, had the audacity to try and speak. Hey man, listen. I turned on him so fast he flinched. Shut the up, Jason. He actually shut up. Good. Emily finally snapped out of her shock and did what she does best, lie through her teeth. Babe, please, it's not what it looks like. I swear. I held up my phone. Oh. So you weren't just telling him how much better he is than me? You weren't laughing at the guy you promised to love? You weren't planning a whole weekend with him while I was out of town? She opened her mouth, then closed it. She had nothing. Jason, still half naked, grabbed his jeans off the floor. Look, man, I didn't know she was still with you, alright? I actually laughed at that. Oh really? Then why did she text you? He has no idea. His face went red. He muttered something under his breath, but I was already done with him. Get thee out of my house. Now. He hesitated. I said now. And the best part? I had my phone recording his pathetic ass running out of my house in nothing but his jeans, shoes in his hand, stumbling like an idiot. Then, it was just me and her. Emily burst into tears. I'm so sorry. I wasn't thinking. I made a mistake. Please, just let me explain. I should have been sad. I should have felt something. But I didn't. I just felt done. I looked her right in the eyes. You didn't make a mistake, Emily. You made a choice. Over and over again. And now you get to live with it. She collapsed onto the bed, sobbing. Begging that I walked out, because I wasn't going to waste one more second on a woman who never gave a damn about me. I didn't sleep that night. I sat in my car, gripping the steering wheel so hard my knuckles turned white, watching the house that used to feel like home. Emily called me 7 times, left voicemail sobbing, sent long-ass texts about how she'd made a mistake, how it was all a misunderstanding, how she still loved me. I didn't respond. Instead, I forwarded everything, the texts, the security footage, even the audio from the bedroom, to my lawyer. Yeah, I already had a lawyer. Because the second I found those messages, I knew this marriage was dead. The next morning, I walked back into the house like a ghost, ignoring the wreck of a woman sitting on the couch, still in her robe, red-eyed and pitiful. She stood up the moment she saw me. Babe, please, just let's talk. I walked right past her. She followed me down the hall, still spewing. It didn't mean anything. I was just confused. You've been so distant lately, and I didn't know how to talk to you, and I turned around so fast she stumbled backward. Distant? Distant? You mean the part where I was working my ass off while you were busy spreading your legs for your ex? Her face twisted. She didn't like that. You don't understand. Jason and I have history. It was just a stupid, emotional mistake. I actually laughed. You sure as hell didn't look confused last night when you were telling him how much better he is than me. Her mouth snapped shut. Yeah. That shut her up. I grabbed my suitcase from the closet and started throwing my clothes in. Where are you going? She stammered. Anywhere but here. Her face crumpled. You're leaving me? I zipped up my bag. No, Emily. You left me. She dropped to her knees, grabbing my hand. begging, please. Please don't do this. We can fix this. I'll go to therapy. We'll go to counseling. I swear, I'll do anything. I pulled my hand away like her touch burned. The only thing I want from you is a signature on the divorce papers. Then, I walked out and that should have been the end of it, but Emily? Oh no. She wasn't about to let me go that easy, because the next thing she did, it shocked even me that I thought I had seen the worst of it. Thought I had walked away clean. But Emily had one last trick up her sleeve, and this one? It was nuclear. The day after I left, I got a call from an unknown number. Normally, I ignore those, but something told me to pick up. Is this? Yeah, who's this? This is Officer Reynolds with the police department. We need you to come down to the station for questioning. I swear to God, my blood went ice cold. Questioning? For what? Your wife, Emily, last name, has made some serious allegations against you. I froze that I asked what the allegations were, but the officer wouldn't say over the phone. I could barely think straight as I drove to the station, 1,000 worst-case scenarios flashing through my mind. What the hell had she done? When I got there, I was led into a room where they sat me down and finally told me what was happening. Emily had accused me of domestic violence. She had filed a police report, claiming I had physically abused her during our marriage and had even threatened her life the night before I left. I actually laughed when they said it. Not because it was funny, but because it was so insane, so utterly unbelievable, that my brain refused to process it. That I told them straight up this was a desperate lie from a cheating wife who got caught. I was never violent, never even raised my voice at her outside of last night's confrontation. I could tell some of the officers weren't buying her story, but the problem was, in these situations, they have to investigate, and that's when I pulled out my ace. I have proof. I have security footage from my house that shows exactly what happened last night. Their faces changed real quick. They had me hand over the footage and my phone records, including all the texts and calls. It didn't take long for them to see that Emily was full of it, but the damage was already done. Even though the cops saw through her story, the report was still on record. And worst of all, Emily had already started running her mouth. By the time I got home, my phone was blowing up with messages from mutual friends and family. Some were furious, demanding to know what I had done to Emily. Others were skeptical, saying, "This doesn't sound like you, but what's going on?" Emily had played the victim like a pro. She had called up everyone we knew, crying about how I had abused her and terrified her into silence. And some people I thought were my friends believed her. I spent the next 2 days fighting for my reputation. I sent the security footage, the messages, even the police statement clearing me, to anyone who had heard Emily's lies, and slowly, the truth spread. People started turning on her. Friends who had first believed her lies called her out. Her own family was horrified when they saw the proof. And Jason? Oh, he was long gone. He must have realized how much of a mess she was, because the moment things got serious, he ghosted her completely. And then came the final blow. Emily called me, sobbing. "Please. I don't know why I did this. I was scared, I was angry, I didn't want to lose you. Emily, you lost me the second you chose him." I hung up. That was the last time I ever spoke to her. After I hung up on Emily, I sat in silence, trying to process everything. The woman I had loved, the woman I had planned a life with, had not only betrayed me, but she had tried to ruin me when she got caught, and she almost got away with it. But I wasn't done yet. I had let her walk all over me for months, maybe even years. But now? It was my turn to make sure she felt the full consequences of what she had done. I still had one last move to make. Since I had already filed for divorce and given my lawyer all the evidence, I knew I had leverage. The state we lived in had at-fault divorce laws, meaning that if I could prove infidelity, I could get a more favorable settlement. And trust me, I had all the proof. I made it clear to Emily's lawyer, she wasn't getting a damn penny from me. No alimony, no financial support, nothing. She had to move out of our house ASAP. She had the audacity to cheat in our home. She could find somewhere else to live, she could take her belongings, but that was it. No sentimental, I want to keep this because it reminds me of our good times, nonsense. Her lawyer tried to negotiate, saying she had made a mistake and deserved a fair settlement. I laughed. A mistake is burning dinner. A mistake is forgetting an anniversary. This was a choice. Over and over again. When Emily realized she was backed into a corner, she tried another approach. Guilt. She emailed me, a long-winded, pathetic attempt at an apology. I know I hurt you, and I hate myself for it. I was lost, and I let my past mess up my future. I wish I could take it all back. I didn't even reply. She signed the papers within 2 weeks, but before she left, I made sure one last thing happened. Up until this point, I had only shared the truth with our close circle, friends, family, and the people who needed to know. But Emily still had some people who didn't know the full story. So I posted everything. No names, no direct insults, just the facts. The screenshots, the proof, the entire timeline of her affair and her false accusations against me, and then I let her reputation destroy itself. It spread fast. Mutual acquaintances started dropping her left and right. Her job found out. Apparently, her company had a morality clause, and while they couldn't fire her for cheating, they didn't like the false police report part. She was asked to resign 3 weeks later. No job. No home. No support system. She tried reaching out one last time. You ruined my life. I didn't reply, because she did that all by herself. I thought I was done with Emily. I had exposed her lies, wrecked her reputation, and walked away with everything while she was left scrambling for the pieces. But life has a funny way of making karma hit even harder when someone deserves it. A month after the divorce was finalized, I got a call from a friend, one of the few who had stuck by me through the whole mess. Dude, you are not going to believe this. What now? Emily is trying to sue Jason. I almost choked on my drink. Jason, the same guy she cheated on me with, the guy she threw our marriage away for, was now her next target. Apparently, after I cut her off and she lost her job, she went running to him for help. She had no place to stay, barely any money left, and figured he would take care of her. But Jason? Oh, he wasn't about to let his little side chick become his full-time problem. From what I heard, he let her crash at his place for a couple of weeks before he started getting sick of her. She was broke, miserable, and constantly talking about how everything had gone wrong. Blaming me for her downfall instead of taking any responsibility. Jason, being the lowlife he is, kicked her out when she started pressuring him to make things serious. She had left me thinking she was upgrading, only to find out she was nothing more than a temporary thrill to him, and when he threw her out, she snapped. She tried suing him for emotional damages, and for leading her on under false pretenses. Let that sink in for a second. She cheated on me to be with this guy, bragged about how much better he was, and then when he didn't want her permanently, she turned into a victim again. I don't think I've ever laughed harder in my life. Of course, the case went nowhere. No judge was going to take that seriously. But the best part, Jason, in an effort to clear his own name, started exposing even more dirt on Emily. Apparently, I wasn't the only guy she cheated on. Jason revealed that during our marriage, Emily had flirted and hooked up with other guys, 2 guys from her job, guys she met on business trips, even some random fling during a girl's trip. She had been playing me for years. Hearing that should have hurt, but honestly, I felt relieved because it meant I never had a chance. No matter what I had done, how good of a husband I was, she was always going to be that person. And now she had no one left. She was jobless, she was homeless. She had burned every bridge she had. But here's the kicker, she still wasn't done making a fool of herself, because the next thing she did, it was so desperate, so pathetic, that even I couldn't believe it. By this point, I thought Emily had hit rock bottom. No job, no stable place to live, no support system, and the guy she blew up our marriage for had tossed her aside like yesterday's trash. But somehow, she managed to dig even deeper into the pit of desperation. It started with a text out of nowhere. Emily messaged me, Emily, hey, can we talk? I stared at my screen for a second, genuinely stunned. This woman had falsely accused me, tried to ruin my life, and now she wanted to talk like we were old friends. I ignored it. A few hours later another text, Emily, please, just give me a chance to explain. I know I messed up, but I miss you. I miss us. I nearly dropped my phone. Miss me? Miss what, exactly? The husband she humiliated? The marriage she torched for a two-bit affair with a guy who didn't even want her? I was seconds away from blocking her when a third text came through, Emily, I'm really struggling right now. I don't know where to turn. Please, I need your help. There it was, she didn't miss me. She missed having a safety net that I left her on read. 2 days later, I got a call from her mom. Now, Emily's mom and I had always gotten along. She was a good woman, one of the few people in Emily's life who actually had a moral compass. She sounded embarrassed when she spoke. Emily's mom, hey, I just wanted to reach out because Emily's been staying with me for a bit, and she's really not doing well. I didn't say anything. Just waited. Emily's mom, she told me she reached out to you. Said she wants to make amends. She knows she made a huge mistake. I sighed. I didn't want to drag her mom into this, but I also wasn't about to be manipulated. Me, look, I appreciate you calling, but she doesn't miss me. She misses what I provided. And you and I both know that. Silence. Then, a long sigh, silence. Then, a long sigh. Emily's mom, I know. I had to try. I can't fix her, and I don't want to enable her. I just don't know what she's going to do. That part stuck with me, because not even a week later, Emily pulled her most desperate stunt yet. I woke up to a series of missed calls and texts from mutual friends. Messages like, dude, please tell me this isn't real. WTF, man? She's saying some crazy stuff, you might want to check this out. My stomach dropped. I opened Facebook and right there, staring me in the face, was Emily's latest post. Some mistakes come with the biggest consequences, but also the biggest blessings. Attached was a stock image of a sonogram. I actually had to read it twice before my brain processed what was happening. Emily was faking a pregnancy, and she was implying it was mine. I nearly lost it. Within minutes, my phone was blowing up. People were freaking out, asking if it was true, if I was going to be a father, if I had gotten back together with her. I wasn't even angry at first. Just stunned at the sheer level of insanity. But then? Oh, I got angry because this wasn't just a desperate grab for attention. This was calculated. She knew exactly what she was doing, trying to manipulate me, trying to force me back into her life by throwing out the biggest emotional bombshell she could, and that was my final straw. I sat there, staring at my phone, heart pounding in my chest. Emily had officially lost her damn mind. A fake pregnancy? That was a new level of insanity. I knew I had to shut this down fast. Because if I didn't, the rumors would spread, and suddenly, I'd have people thinking I was about to be a father with the woman who ruined my life. So I did the only logical thing. I called her. She picked up on the first ring. Emily, hey. I was hoping you'd call. Her voice was soft, fake sweet, like she was expecting me to break down and beg for details. I didn't waste time. Me, are you seriously trying to pull this stunt? A pause. Then, Emily, I don't know what you mean. Me, cut the crap. You're out here posting fake sonograms, implying that you're pregnant with my kid. Are you actually out of your mind? She sighed, like I was the one being unreasonable. Emily, it's not fake. I was going to tell you, but I didn't know how. I laughed. I couldn't help it. Me, oh, really? So you magically got pregnant even though we haven't slept together in months? Another pause, then came the slip-up. Emily, well. I didn't think it would happen, but sometimes things are unpredictable. There it was. She wasn't denying it. She was hoping to bluff her way through this. I took a deep breath. Me, all right. Cool. Then I'm going to need proof. Emily, what? Me, you're pregnant, right? Great. Then I want to see an actual, legitimate ultrasound. And we're going to the doctor together for a paternity test the second that's possible. Silence. Me, what's wrong, Emily? If you're telling the truth, this shouldn't be a problem, right? She started stammering, making excuses, saying things like, "It's too early for that," and, "You don't trust me?" And that's when I dropped the final bomb. Me, oh, by the way? You might want to take that post down. Because you didn't even use your own sonogram picture. You pulled a stock image off Google. Silence. Pure, deafening silence that I had figured it out almost immediately. See, I work in IT security, right? It took me all of 5 minutes to run a reverse image search on that sonogram she posted. And guess what? It was from a medical website. She had literally downloaded a fake ultrasound from Google and tried to pass it off as her own, and I had all the proof. Me, yeah, so unless you want me to expose you even worse than I already have, I suggest you delete that post and stop running your mouth before this blows up in your face. She tried backpedaling, claiming she had misunderstood and was just emotional and scared. I hung up, and by the time I checked again, the post was gone, but the damage was already done. People had seen it, commented on it, called her out. Some of our mutual friends even started roasting her publicly, saying things like, "Damn, Emily, how'd you manage to get pregnant from a guy who hasn't touched you in half a year? Girl, did the Holy Spirit bless you with this one?" Plot twist, the baby's father is Google Images. I'd like to say that was the last stunt she pulled, but no, because Emily wasn't done making a fool of herself just yet. I thought the fake pregnancy stunt was the lowest Emily could go. I was wrong, she had one last trick up her sleeve. And this time? It was so pathetic, so delusional, that even I couldn't believe it started with a message from a random number, unknown. "Hey, I think we need to talk. Call me when you get this." I stared at it for a second. No name, no context. But something about it felt off. I ignored it. An hour later. Another message, unknown, "Dude, you need to know what's going on. It's about Emily." That got my attention. I replied, "Me, who is this?" "Unknown, it's Mark. Jason's friend." My heart skipped a beat. Jason's friend? Why the hell would he be reaching out to me? I decided to call. The second he picked up, I could hear the excitement in his voice. Like he was about to drop a bombshell. "Mark, man, I don't even know how to say this, but Emily's been telling people that you guys are working things out." I blinked. "What? Me, say that again." "Mark, dude, she's telling people you guys are back together. That you're rebuilding trust after everything that happened." I actually burst out laughing. This woman, the same one who cheated, tried to destroy my life, and then faked a pregnancy, was now going around telling people we were reconciling. Mark kept talking, giving me all the details. Apparently, Emily had spun an entire fantasy story to anyone who would listen. She told people that, had reached out to her, we were going to therapy together, I had forgiven her, and was considering taking her back. The reason Mark even knew about this? Jason had heard it from a mutual friend and had called Mark to confirm. And when Mark found out it was complete BS, he figured I should know that I was done. I called Emily immediately. She picked up, her voice way too cheerful. "Emily, hey. I was wondering when you'd call." I didn't waste time. Me, what the hell are you telling people? Silence. Then, "Emily, what do you mean?" Me, don't play dumb, Emily. You're telling people we're back together? She hesitated, then tried to fake innocence. "Emily, well. I mean, I was just saying that we're on good terms." "I didn't mean," I cut her off. Me, we are not on good terms. I do not want you in my life. Stop lying, stop embarrassing yourself, and move the hell on. Emily, but we could. Me, no. We couldn't. And we won't. This is over. And then, just to drive the point home, I took screenshots of the texts Mark sent me and sent them to every mutual friend we had. Me, since Emily wants to spread lies, let's clear this up. I have not taken her back, I will never take her back, and anyone who believes otherwise is getting played. The fallout? Glorious. People roasted her in the comments. Some unfriended her on the spot. Others called her out publicly, saying things like, "Emily, you've officially lost it. Did you think he wouldn't find out? Girl, get help. Seriously." And just like that, she was completely done. After that, Emily went silent. No more fake stories. No more desperate attempts to contact me because now she had no one left to lie to. After I shut down Emily's pathetic fantasy about us getting back together, I expected her to finally crawl into whatever hole she belonged in and stay there for a while. She did. And no more texts. No more lies. Radio silence. And then, karma came knocking. Hard. It all started with a LinkedIn notification. Yeah. LinkedIn. I was at work when I got a request from an old mutual acquaintance, someone I hadn't spoken to in years. I barely glanced at it until I saw the message attached. "Dude, you need to check out what's happening with Emily." I was intrigued. So I clicked on it, and what I saw, I nearly spit out my coffee. Emily had been fired. Again, the job she had managed to land after losing her last one. Gone. And this time, it wasn't quiet. It was a public spectacle. Someone had posted in a professional networking group about workplace ethics and how a certain employee had been caught falsifying documents and creating false allegations against a colleague. The details. Oh, they sounded very familiar. Employee lied about being harassed to manipulate a situation. Employee got caught when the accused person proved everything was false. Employee was immediately terminated and blacklisted from the industry. And the comments? Brutal. Wow. Some people will do anything for attention. Imagine getting caught lying twice in 1 year. Bet she was the office drama queen. I checked the profile of the original poster, and guess what? It was someone from her job. Emily had tried pulling the same stunt she did with me, making false accusations to gain sympathy or power, but this time she picked the wrong company. HR did a full investigation, found out she was lying through her teeth, and not only fired her, but made sure the entire industry knew what she had done. She was done. I sat back in my chair, grinning like an idiot. Karma doesn't miss. For a second, I wondered how she was handling it. And then, my phone buzzed. Emily. A voicemail. I debated ignoring it, but curiosity got the best of me. I put it on speaker and listened. "Emily, I don't know what to do anymore. Everything is falling apart. I lost my job, I lost my friends, I lost you. Please, please just talk to me. I don't even know who I am anymore." I deleted the voicemail without responding because Emily wasn't my problem anymore. She had burned every bridge in her life. Lied to everyone who cared about her. And now? She was left with nothing, and I was finally freed. At this point, Emily had lost everything: her job gone, her reputation destroyed, her friends nowhere to be found, her dignity that vanished months ago. I thought this was the end of the road for her, but somehow, life had one last gift to give, and it was the most humiliating one. It all started when I got a text from my cousin, Jake. "Jake, dude, you are not going to believe who I just saw." I replied. "Me, who?" "Jake, Emily. Working at restaurant. As a waitress." Now, let me be clear, I don't look down on people who work in the service industry. It's honest work, and some of the hardest working people I know are in it, but Emily, she used to brag about how too good she was for that kind of job. She had this stuck-up attitude about people who didn't have professional careers. She used to say things like, "I could never work in food service. Imagine dealing with gross people all day. I deserve a career, not a minimum wage job. I'd rather die than be a waitress." Well, life has a funny sense of humor. Jake sent me a photo. There she was. Emily. Wearing a uniform, holding a tray, taking orders from a table. I laughed so hard I almost dropped my phone. Jake, being the absolute legend that he is, decided to go up and say hi. Now, keep in mind Jake hates her guts. He saw everything she did to me and would love nothing more than to rub salt in the wound. So he walks right up to her and acts like he doesn't know anything. "Jake, Emily. Wow, it's been a while. How are you?" She turned bright red. He said she looked like she wanted to crawl into a hole and die. Emily: oh, hi, Jake. It's, been a rough year. Jake, playing dumb, just nods. Jake: yeah, I heard you left your last job. What happened? She stammered. She had no good excuse to give. Emily: yeah, just, company politics, you know. Then, the best part, Jake looks around the restaurant and, with the fakest surprised expression, says, Jake: oh wow. You work here? That's so cool. You always said you'd never do food service. She looked mortified that he said. She mumbled something about just doing it for now, and practically ran to the kitchen. Absolute perfection. And honestly, that was it. That was the moment I knew karma had fully completed its work. The woman who thought she was too good for everyone had now been humbled in the most poetic way possible, and me, I was living my best life. No baggage. No drama. Just pure peace. And Emily, she was serving up tables and regrets. After Jake's little run-in with Emily at the restaurant, I knew without a doubt that this was the final nail in her coffin, that I hadn't heard from her in weeks at this point, and honestly, I was at peace. But fate? It had one last encore point. One day, I was at the grocery store, just grabbing some stuff for the weekend. As I'm walking through the aisles, I hear a voice behind me. A voice I hadn't heard in months. Hey. I turned, and there she was. Emily. She looked rough, her hair was messy, her clothes looked thrown together, and she had dark circles under her eyes like she hadn't slept in days. She looked like a ghost of the woman I once knew. For a split second, I almost felt bad, but then I remembered everything she did to me. Oh. It's you. She swallowed, looking nervous. Emily, I just wanted to say hi. See how you were doing. I just stared at her, see how I was doing. This woman tried to destroy my life, ruin my reputation, fake a pregnancy, and spread lies about me. And now she wanted to act like we were old friends catching up. Me, I'm doing great, actually. And I meant it. That I was happier, healthier, and more at peace than I had been in years. Emily, on the other hand? Not so much. She fidgeted, like she was trying to find the right words. Emily, I've been thinking a lot. About everything. And I wanted to say I'm sorry. I raised an eyebrow. Me, sorry? For what, exactly? Emily, for everything. For how I treated you. For what I did. I know I can't take it back, but I just wanted you to know I regret it. I really do. I looked at her. For the first time, she actually seemed genuine. But here's the thing, it didn't matter anymore, because I didn't need her apology. I didn't need closure. I had already won. I had already moved on. So I just nodded. Me, all right. Her eyes searched my face, like she was expecting more. Like she was hoping for something, but there was nothing left to give. Emily, that's it? Me, yeah. That's it. She hesitated, like she wanted to say something else. Maybe she was about to ask if we could talk more, or if we could ever be friends again, but before she could, I just said, take care, Emily. And I walked away. I didn't look back, not this time, not ever again. That was the last time I ever saw her. From what I heard, she left town a few months later. No one really knows where she went, and honestly, I don't care, because this story, it's not about her anymore. It's about me finally being free, and let me tell you, it feels damn good.